You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is November 23rd, 2020. Today is also the feast day of one of my favorite, Blessed Miguel Pro from Mexico. Now, this week, if you are in the United States, you know that we are preparing to celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday. For this reason, we only have 3 episodes this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And we are going to spend these 3 days looking at 3 incredible holy people that are each celebrating a feast day. Now, remarkably, each of the people that we will be talking about today was actually asked to give their life out of love for Jesus Christ. They lived in situations where believing in Jesus, being a Christian, was illegal, and it was punishable by death. So each of them gave their life for Jesus Christ. Now, this might seem like a super depressing thing to be talking about on the week of Thanksgiving, but I want you to realize something. When we're thinking about being thankful, we need to realize, just as we talked about last week, that Jesus, life through him and in him, needs to be the most valuable thing that we have. Our faith, a relationship with him, needs to be number 1. When we list all the things that we're thankful for, that needs to be top of the list. And so, even if at one point we are asked to live somewhere where believing in Jesus and loving him is illegal or even punishable by death, it needs to remain our most valuable possession, a relationship with him. And so I ask you, my friends, to be inspired by these stories this week and to truly pray that your heart can be filled with thanksgiving, not only for what Jesus did for you on the cross, of course, that's incredible, but also for what he continues to do in your life now and how he continues to ask you to be one of his great disciples. So as I said, today is the feast day of Blessed Miguel Pro. Blessed Miguel Pro lived in Mexico. He was born at the end of the 1800s and died in 1927. Unfortunately, during his lifetime, there was a great revolution in Mexico, and the new government that won the revolution hated the Catholic Church. They closed churches, they made going to Mass illegal, and they also outlawed being a priest. Unfortunately, Blessed Miguel Pro received a calling to the priesthood, one that he answered. He finished up his seminary in Spain while all of this crazy revolution was going on in Mexico. After he finished seminary, people begged him to stay in Europe. They said, "You go back to Mexico as a priest, they'll kill you." But Blessed Miguel Pro knew that there were many faithful people in Mexico, many people that were being denied the sacraments, and that he needed to go there to be their priest. So he went back to Mexico, but he was forced to go underground. Now, do you know what this means? To go underground means to be in secret and hiding. It doesn't mean you actually live under the ground. But he continued to be a priest. He said Mass for people in their homes in secret. And when he was traveling between houses, he wore many different disguises. At one point, he dressed as a beggar, covered himself in rags. At another point, he dressed as a car mechanic in a big greasy coverall. And at another point, he actually dressed as a police officer. Now, the police were onto him. They knew that there was a priest going around underground saying Mass for people in their homes, so they were looking for him. But Blessed Miguel Pro, he was a happy, a jolly guy. As a kid, he played pranks on his sisters. So, in good humor, he went and he actually talked to the police that were looking for him. And then he slipped into someone's house and said Mass for them. But Blessed Miguel Pro, although he was good-natured and loved a good joke and a song, he knew that what he was doing was very serious. He also knew that he would probably one day be caught. And he was. Eventually, he was arrested on some ridiculous charges, but they found out that he was a priest. And this, at the time in Mexico, was a sin punishable by death. So Blessed Miguel Pro was sentenced to death by a firing squad. And yet he remained joyful. Remember, they could take everything from him, his possessions and even his family, even his reputation, but they could never take his relationship with Jesus Christ. So he was filled with joy even as they pointed the guns at him. And in his final breath, he raised his hands in the shape of a crucifix and he shouted, "Viva la Cristo Rey," which means long live Christ the King. Even though Mexico has gone crazy and hates Jesus, Jesus is still King of the universe, King of my heart. And so Blessed Miguel Pro died, but his memory, his willingness to give his life for love of Jesus, of course, it stuck with the people of Mexico. Eventually, this evil regime was kicked out and the churches opened, and they never took for granted going to Mass or the sacraments again. And so, Sprouts, as we prepare for Thanksgiving, I want you to really meditate on the joy that Blessed Miguel Pro had just seconds before he gave his life. They could not take his relationship with Jesus from him. So today, let's pray through the intercession of Blessed Miguel Pro that we too can see our relationship with Jesus Christ as the most valuable thing that we have, something that can never be taken away from us. And for that, we are so grateful. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be. Just one more thing. Here in the United States, we will be celebrating Thanksgiving on Thursday and Friday of this week. For this reason, there will be no new episodes on those days. So just look for new episodes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But we will be back with new content on Monday, November 30th.